Okay, good morning, everyone, and I hope you're having a wonderful day out there. My day's been pretty good so far, with really honestly, some tech issues, which I'll mention a little bit more after the spill. So, spill. Hello, everyone. My name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s. We're going to be campfire cooking. We're going to be making stew with venison. This is going to be inspired from the recipe for the wyvern stew from Campfire Cooking in Another World. So it will be inspired from that anime. This is kind of like a accompaniment to last campfire stream where I did the gyudon with venison. Today I'm going to be doing I'm going to be working with venison for the stew meal. And this will also get rid of this piece of deer meat that's been sitting in my fridge for far too long, and I am very much looking forward to getting rid of the deer meat because, yeah, I apparently did not select an appropriately tight Ziploc bag for it, and due to that, I had to clean up a lot of deer blood out of my fridge this morning, which was probably like the most unpleasant thing, other than when my heart stopped because I could not manipulate, because I had like some issues in VTube Studio, which I did thankfully figure out with the incredible power of the search feature of the internet. You actually can't. Well, you can't see it right now. Not too well, but today is actually the debut of this guy. So I actually have basically what this is a heat shield, and this is basically whenever I'm working with any food here, this keeps the heat of the fire off the food and also off me as well, because even though granted it's actually like kind of chilly this morning, it's actually I gotta say, it's like a real comfy morning to be out here around the fire pit, but we are getting closer and closer to summer in the northern hemisphere here, so this is definitely going to be something that's going to really help me out with doing these streams. And eventually, at some point, it looks like I'm going to have to manipulate my fire because I am getting really smoked right now, but yeah. So yeah, eventually we'll get some tea poured. Probably go ahead and take my tea bowl out and set it off to the side, like over there, and we'll finish this off. So, let's see here. I had some green tea. Well, that's what I've just finished off, so we'll go ahead and we'll make some English breakfast tea. Because it's generally how I do my tea, is I'll have green tea, and then I'll do an English breakfast or an Earl Grey tea. And that's also one of the fun things about having the fire here, is I can just burn paper. As long as it's just paper, which the Tazo tea packs are just paper, whereas my private selection ones, those have like a metal foil backing, and I try not. Those get thrown away. I don't burn those. Grab the appropriate glove device. And but yeah, I actually put quite a bit of water in this morning. And even though I got it going prior to stream, it is warm, but I don't know if it's just warm enough. Granted, historically, it's been too warm. Historically. Granted, also the heat shield is also doing a reasonably decent job of actually deflecting smoke out of my face, because it's still coming up around the edges and things. And it's kind of coming in my general direction, but it's actually just the smoke doesn't have as good of a line of sight straight to my face, which I do like. That's very lovely. Pour a little bit. Oh. As much as I love this thing. Ooh. We'll do that much. Ooh, okay. Okay. And we'll do it kind of like over here, off to the side. That's to keep it from getting too warm. But if I think the water gets too hot, then I'll. But I think this right might either be just a. Actually, might be just a hair bit on the too cool side. Fun, I can always add some more water to it later. But yeah. So I think it's about time we start doing some cooking. So there, these are gonna go this way. Okay. That. Oh. Man. Okay, fine. You're getting some attention. Because it is horrendously throwing smoke at my face, and I do not appreciate that. So, trying to manipulate my wood a little bit further away to get some of these holes going this way. Kind of tried to create a bit of a hot, warm area. Also trying to like keep a lot of the burning activity happening a little bit further away. Kind of distance myself a little bit from it. Could bring me some relief so that way I can start thinking about cutting up some veg. Because I am a big fan of veg. So, got a nice little cutting board here. Let's see. Grab knife. So, I think we should go ahead and start with my favorite ingredient, the onion. So we'll go ahead and start working on getting this diced up. And just get those roots off. Do that. Wait. But yeah, that's a great thing with having the fire going is you can just like drop stuff like this. As long as the updraft doesn't try to like bring it back towards you in a way it's unpleasant. So we'll divide it in half. Then we'll take our skin off. Get that. And then, so this is going to be a stew. I'm going to kind of want... I don't want diced onions for stew. So we're going to kind of just be taking it easy. Well, we're going to kind of do like some... Thinking about doing something like this. Didn't get through. Get this. And if I grab my bowl... break it up a little bit, you kind of see what I'm going for. We'll have like thin strips. I think this would be real nice to do like this as a stew. I think in the show, Lakota, he did slightly larger than this. I'm gonna go with these. I'm gonna go with these strips. I think that's a good way to go about it. I got my eye on you, Five. I know you're trying to do things too. Yep. Yay. But yeah, I was just watching the smoke just now, and I was just watching it billow into my garage, which I think I'm going to try to do something. Okay, that should keep most of the smoke out of my garage. It should be safe. Wowie. Woo. A little bit here. Repair that. I feel like. Let's see here. Can I get a little bit more of the cooking area? Doesn't mean the fire's fun to watch. But this is also primarily a cooking stream, so. Go. That off. Then we'll break it up into here. It'll give us lots of nice pieces of onion. Lots of nice, wonderful pieces of onion. There we go. Lots of nice onion for there. Let's get some chunky bits, you know. Stop. Yeah. Stop being mean. You're being mean, Fire. You're being very mean this morning. Yeah. Tea water. That tea is a little cold. So I'm gonna put that off to the side, and I'm gonna put the glove on. I'll just top this off with a little bit more water, because this has been sitting on the fire for a little while. So we're gonna go ahead and should be warmer. Do a little bit of poking. Really do. I am all the way a fan. Whenever I can. Especially if it's been throwing smoke at my face. Try this. Tea is a little bit warmer. Still not quite what I would consider ideal. But oh well. We're not gonna worry. I'm not gonna worry about the thing I just saw. I'm not gonna worry about that because that's a whole thing. So I'll grab next ingredients here. But since I am making a, I kind of want to select the largest carrots I can out of my bag. And the thing is, I don't really need like a, I don't need like a whole lot of carrots. I just need a couple. I think we'll just go with this amount because at the end of the day, I'm also just making food for one person, so. Granted, I did buy like 3 potatoes, three reasonably. Okay. Let's see. Nah, I'll just dice these. See here. And we'll set you there. Grab you. Then for the carrots, we're gonna do kind of like angular, irregular chunks. Kind of want them to get them a little bit chunky, but not like super chunky. We don't want like big pieces of carrots. We just want like kind of like small pieces of carrot. Well, reasonably bite-sized. And these are actually... I'm glad I'm using these for a stew. They're kind of fibrous, but they're going to be really good in a stew, though. And about as much carrot as I'm gonna get out of that. And now the carrots, they've got a little bit of heft to them, so I can actually hit the garden if I chuck it. So those can go straight at the garden. But yeah, all the veg that I am prepping, it's all gonna go straight into this big bowl I got off to the side. Which, honestly, you guys should have a better view of the bowl than my tea. Or at least I think that's what you guys would want. It is fun to watch the progress of, like, a thing happen. In this case, is a bowl being filled with veg. I don't know if I should. Or how much of a. Yay. Okay. Oh. It sure would like to go everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. So that's carrot number 2. Done. And carrot number 3. We get to start working on the potatoes. Which, in case you guys don't know, I like potatoes. I'm not sure if the mic's picking it up, but every time I get through one of these cuts, I get like a metallic tink from my little heat shield thing I've got. Which really one of the real nice quality of life things for what it does for me is I can leave my ingredients up on my workspace. Because previously, like, I would have some of my stuff like would actually get like cooked by the fire. Like, it'll get heated a whole lot from just sitting out here. Well, like up here on my preparation space. Ooh, there we go. There we go. We get a nice breeze there. Hell yeah. Okay. 1 potato. 2 potato. Honestly, I'm looking at the amount of food I have here. This is a lot of food. I don't think I need a lot of... I don't think I need too much potato. I'm gonna work on... I want to do this. We can do it down here. Oh man, I'm not sure how I feel about that. This, I just started peeling this and it's kind of green. Like, oh boy. That is less than desirable. Because the green part of a potato actually is like toxins. Like, actually, like, fun fact, when potatoes were first introduced to Europe, there was some pushback from people actually growing them as a food, because potatoes belong in the deadly nightshade family, and people recognized the flowers of the plants, and they're like, wait, that's a nightshade flower. Like, this stuff ain't edible. What the hell are you trying to give us? But it was eventually found out that if you cook them, store them right, I don't know if these have been stored right. These are kind of greeny, but that's also like the nice thing with like a stew is, since we'll have a reasonably good amount of like cook time going on with this dish, we don't have, we've got time to like cook the various like toxins. Man, that one nook down there, that's just real troublesome. Take care of. Woo! Okay. Close. Finish line. I can survive the amount of smoke I'm being exposed to. Which I should be fine. Maybe. I don't know. Oh dear. Dear, dear, dear. And with that, we are officially crying. Because of the smoke. Out. I have darkly said it before, and I will darkly say it again. I am not concerned with chasing perfection. I'm concerned with good enough. As far as like skinning these, because as long as I get them like reasonably to about that level, that's about all I worry. That's about as much as I worry about for potatoes. So it's gonna get set there, because I've got one more to deskin, and then once I deskin it, we'll actually get these cut up, and then yeah, then we can actually bust out the venison. Get the venison prepped, and then once the venison's prepped, then we can actually start cooking. Oh. What? Okay. I thought I heard like a bird or something above me. What's there a bird doing above me? I think that may have been just the flapping from my canopy that I have. As you can see, there's kind of like a line of shadow off to the side. These streams are a little rough to do when you got the sun gouging your eyes out, so when I do the AM ones like this one, I always set up a canopy, which today's canopy setup actually went really well. I was really happy with the canopy setup today. Even though it was a fight, but it's always a fight. It is always a fight to get the canopy up with one person. And getting the canopy up with one Never fun. Never fun. And I'm also thinking about giving this fire a little bit of TLC. We are kind of burning down a little bit. And I want to make sure we have a reasonable amount of like coals, a reasonable amount of heat. We actually get cooking. Granted, we're still a little ways away from when we actually start cooking, but I want to make sure I keep maintaining nice fire up until we get to that. This guy finished off. Hurt. Easy to clean up. I'll clean it up. Not worry about it. Kuna Matata. Bang, bada, boom. Done. Cool. Sweet. Potatoes are prepped. Well, kind of. Potatoes are de-skinned. They're not prepped, per se. But take a moment before I move forward. I'm gonna show some TLC to the fire. Uh-oh. The piece of wood I want. Into my... There we go. Nice big piece. Should get us a pretty decent amount of coals. Keep the fire going. Okay. So I'm gonna get butt out, and we're gonna do kind of large chunks. I want to get it kind of bite-sizey, but also kind of We'll have like some like kind of smaller-ish pieces, some bigger pieces. Get a nice like mix. For, let's say, texture's sake. Do. See, about that. Kind of large-ish. Reduce those down. But it is a thing, if your potato pieces are a little too large, they may not cook fully through. Well, they'll take longer to cook. Larger pieces of potato take longer to cook. But since this is a stew with reasonably long cook times, I'm not too worried about it. That. Do that. That piece is kind of a little big, but I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. We'll do... Get a nice kind of like mix. Granted, this piece is a little too large here. Cut it down the size. Kind of a small, kind of a large. Get a nice mix. Potato chunks. Up. Let's get some regular pieces. That's what I did. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. Diggity dog. So, even though I bought like three potatoes at the store, this is a lot of veg. This is a lot of food, and I don't have the largest pot, so I may not cook all this. I might. I'm definitely going to be slowly adding potatoes to this. Because hopefully maybe things will cook down a little bit. Not entirely sure. But, I mean, if I fill up the pot that I've prepared today, the pan, with food, it's going to be probably enough for like 4 meals for just me, so. Okay. That concludes the fun prep. We now move over to the less fun prep. I need this knife here. So, once again, food safety. Any cutting board that's used for veg, do not use for meat. Keep your veg and meat separate. That is good food handling 101. As you want to keep those separate. Tea kettle hasn't been. So I'm going to move it a little bit onto the fire. Because eventually, I'm going to want some more tea. So I'm going to make sure I have some nice warm tea. So, my veg dish. Yikes, this is a lot of food. Oh, okay. Okay. And here it is, the disgusting star of today's show. And I do mean this disgustingly, because this silly thing, this venison here, made such a mess in my fridge prior to today. So I do not have nice things to say about it. Because I had a little bit of time this morning, and yeah, I was like, and I used that time to clean deer blood out of my fridge. Because heaven forbid someone goes to the house and they find blood all over the fridge. So I kind of want to. There's not so much blood that's just going to pour out, because apparently it's already poured out into the fridge. Okay. That's going to go down in my waste area. So here it is, ladies and gents. Behold. One slab of venison. But for this, I'm going to create chunks. So this is going to be a stew. So for the gyudon, I wanted thin slices. Today, I want thick chunks. So what I'm going to do is just take a series of light passes. Maybe I should have got a bigger knife for this guy. And I'm going to basically create like patties like this, and then I'm going to put those down. But hold. 2 days to unfreeze it. Yeah. Place it placed up. That didn't work. Not have enough room. Don't want that, so cut that chunk. That chunk. Wanting to come off. So go ahead and we'll get that cut off. Small piece. We'll do another small. I'm gonna get these down to like Chunky, sure, but nice if I could get him to like bite size. This is like pretty large. Deer meat. So slice. Let's cut down there. And that's a piece. Piece. Oh. Let's keep going. Through the chunk. And also, if it seems like I don't have like a lot of experience handling this, because I don't. I do not have a lot of experience handling venison. Or meat in general. Generally speaking, most of my experience with handling meat has been with ground beef. This piece here, cut off, flap. Barely hanging on. Go. Piece will go over there. This. That's what. Piece. We'll do it. This will be a slightly larger chunk of venison, but that's fine. That's fine. Because in the show, he actually had some pretty large pieces, but I don't know if those pieces were for Vel or not. Kind of like one of the hard things about adapting some of the recipes from the show to real life is like making these in some pretty large portions. And I'm just one guy. Like, I don't need like this is a lot of food for me. Granted, it's actually getting to the point where this actually starts to kind of see a bit of a grain pattern to the meat and the muscle and what have you. Starting to be a lot happier with my chunks. That. And my chunks have been a little bit big, so we'll go ahead and do a couple smalls. Not that much work. Okay. That and do that. Woo. But yeah. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna be real glad to have this meat gone out of my fridge. Because I don't want it, because I have very strong complexes about wasting food, and I don't want to waste it, but also, this has kind of been one of those things where it's like, I have this. What do I do with it? You know? Because it's not every day you get handed like a slab of venison. Okay. Cut that. Off to the side. Up, I see that. Off to the side. Slice that off. Add it to tray. There will be. There's reasons why I do have kind of this tray, this plate set up going. I think what I'm gonna do, get some pretty good sized chunks that I'm then gonna make small. Because that's reasonable for like a hearty stew. And kind of try to do this sort of a bit like how I like to do my firewood, and that's like I like to have both like large and small pieces to work with. Because I think like with it'll be nice to have like small pieces, but it might be nice to have like larger pieces. Well, as long as I'm keeping them within like a general. I probably don't want like too much variety. In terms of I don't want too much differentiation with my sizes, because then they won't like cook as well. But yeah, I am really happy with like these sizes. These are really, I think these will be, but man, I have like a lot of food at the end of it. I'm gonna have atrocious amounts of food at the end of it, which is usually the case with whenever I do these styles of streams. I because a lot of the recipes I find are like, because a lot of campfire recipes tend to be like on the larger side, like in terms of like the number of people they serve. Like they tend to serve like a reasonable amount of people, so it's real hard to find like single size servings. And also with like single serving style meals, it's if I need like a singular ingredient from the grocer, make it. It's not as, say, economical to make it at that scale, at that single serving scale. Whereas if I'm willing to make a slightly larger dish and then just preserve the leftovers, that's usually the better option. Man. Do a lot of food. Turned into a lot of food. Okay. Oh. I'm actually trying to arrange them in such a way to have as much surface area exposed. Off to the side. Ta-da! So the venison is diced. Cheers. But so venison's diced. We've pretty much done a reasonable amount of our food prep. So I'm gonna throw a couple pieces of. Actually, work with this piece of wood right here. I want to see if I can't get them further down in. Bang. And perfect. Like that. So. After just handling meat, I really wish to wash my hands, so I'm going to throw the BRB screen. I'm going to throw the BRB screen, hit the restroom, and we'll get back with cooking. So, see you in a few. And we're back. So we have officially completed most of the prep work. Most of it. So I am going to do one more thing, and that is to the meat. We're going to be hitting it with some salt. We're going to hit it with some pepper. So I'm just going to be generous. I'm honestly being generous with the pepper just because I actually have an overflowing abundance of peppercorns, and I want to use them all before they go bad. And for the salt, we'll hit it with a good layer of salt, and that will basically help pre-season the venison. So. And I get a nice good look there at that nice salted and peppered venison, because that's going to be getting cooked soon. I have a tea kettle. I know it's more than sufficiently warm. I will leave this plate over here. I'll take it off just because. There. But I'll leave it over there just in case I want kind of a cooler area for when we get into this cooking. Grab myself another metal. There we go. That should be fine. And with that, grab our handy dandy pot. So, I'm kind of looking at our food. I'm kind of looking at the size of the pot I have, and might be a little small for the amount of food I have. But I think I'll be fine for the most part, as long as I don't try to put too much potatoes. I think if I constrict my potato usage just a little bit, I should be fine. So. Step 1 of our wonderful multi-step process is to take some butter, and we'll melt some butter in our pan. Be a little bit generous too. I'm also generous with the butter for the same reason that I was generous with the peppercorn. I don't use it a whole lot, so I don't do a whole lot of cooking that involves the use of butter. So gotta use it when you can, you know. And get that butter back into its container from which it came. Well, the cooler. I don't want the. Good. I would have a little. Actually, Did I? You know what? We're gonna just roll with it. We're gonna roll with it. So I have made a mistake, and I have not acquired spatula. Which actually, let's see here. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, cool. There's no one watching. I'm gonna go grab a spatula because no one's watching, and I've got time for that butter to melt. So I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. Sorry about that. But just wanted to have something to kind of like work the pot a little bit, work that. And also, hey, if no one's watching, then hey, I can just do whatever I want. Because I'm pretty much just chilling here and enjoying myself, which, considering the fact I'm also watching butter melt right now. How hot is that? It'd be reasonably warm. Woo! The ashes all over everything. Probably just takes a little while to heat up, I'm sure, but granted, I'm definitely gonna have to get used to using this maple wood I have, because historically I had a whole bunch of oak wood for my firewood. That stuff was amazing to cook on. Granted, it put off like crap loads of heat. This maple seems to be a little bit not as hot, which can be a good thing because that keeps me from burning stuff. So, butter's melting. Granted, it looks like I got the fire pit pretty leveled today. Sometimes the fire pit's out of level, and I can find out very quickly when I try to put when I put some oil into a pan. About whether or not I've actually got it right. I always try to take it a little bit easy with my water. Sometimes this water gets really warm. Oh, it looks like the butter's fully melted. I'm going to let the pot warm up a little bit more. We'll probably give it about another half a minute or so. Just because I really want to make sure get my pan like really nice and heated up. And then once it's real nice and heated up, probably do more to actually like get it actually on the heat. Granted, it's actually now starting to sizzle. I'll cut this with a bit of water, so my tea. I'm gonna cut this with a little bit of water. Should be ready sooner rather than. Then the water will actually get left off to the side because we will be throwing a little bit of water in here. So, starting to hear just a real slight sizzle out of my my butter in my pan here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my venison and we will go ahead and add this to the pan. There we go. Getting real big sizzles now. So, let me just give this a stir. And so, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna saute the meat for a little while. We're just gonna try to brown it up. And then once we brown it up, we'll get some veg going. And then we'll cook the vegetables for a little bit, and then after that, we'll get to play with some fun stuff. Kind of just taking a look at everything that I've got going on and trying to think about the future. I like to stay ahead of the game when it comes to cooking, but it seemed like I had a pretty low heat. Hearing this now, I think the heat's probably going to be fine. Oh yeah. Look at that venison just browning up wonderfully. Oh man, lovely, lovely, lovely. Yay! So yeah, this really should not take too long, and then we can throw the veg in, and then we can actually start making like the base of the soup. Well, the stew. So I'll go ahead and say this now. I'll probably say this later once we get to the point, but we will be doing things a little bit different, because in the show, Makoto used a demi-glace sauce to kind of like add some richness to it. And that stuff is unavailable at my local supermarket. Just completely, totally unavailable. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be using, so he did use some red wine, and I actually have some beef broth. So I'm going to be hitting this with maybe a little bit more of red wine than he used. A little bit, I'm going to use the beef broth, and then I'm going to add, he used 1 cube of consomme. I'm probably going to go with 2. So with the red wine, beef broth, and an extra cube of consomme, that should help me recreate the flavors that a demi-glace sauce will bring. Granted, it was real funny. There was a supermarket employee who saw me at the supermarket when I was trying to find the demi-glace sauce, and he asked me what I was looking for and all this stuff, and he actually looked, because he was actually like picking orders for like online orders, so he had like a notepad, like a digital notepad thing that told him where everything was, and he could search stuff, and he searched for it, and he's like, "Sorry, man, we don't have this. It's like not in the store." I was like, "Oh, okay, well, thanks for looking it up for me, though." So I then did like a quick search for like substitutions, and like using red wine, beef broth, and some consomme works really well. So recipe already calls for red wine, so we're already going to be hitting it with some of that. I think we'll be good. Also, I'm noticing this meat is also kind of like cooking down a little bit more, which I like, because I was a little concerned about the amount of room I have to work with, but I also don't want to make more food than what this pot holds. I think we're going to be really good on that front. At first, I am I'm gonna hold on adding food to the fire. Well, firewood, which is fuel for the fire. Until we start adding some water and the red wine and some of the liquids. Because actually, I'm going to just use a little bit of water. Because I'm going to be hitting this with beef broth, and I'm going to want that to kind of cook down. I'm going to be a little extra with the red wine. So, yeah, we're going to be real conservative with our water, but our venison here is steaming a little bit. It's cooking up quite nice. I am very happy with how well it's cooking so far. So got real good heat. So I'm gonna hold off bumping my heat up until we start adding a lot of the liquid ingredients, because those are going to take a lot more energy to heat up. And also once we start adding some of the more our red wine, beef broth, those things, that's actually going to really help even out the heat in the pan. Or at least that's what I'm going to tell myself. But yeah, this now that we've got the prep done and we're actually cooking, this is good. This is good fun. This is good fun. So yeah. But yeah. It is a little sad to think about that oh. Hello. Oh, hey, actually. I know you're probably not having a great time, but hey, I kind of want to show you off the chat. So, we have been joined by a bee. I don't know why he's here. He just fell out and landed on my little recipe note here, so I'm gonna put this back on my workbench. Get the recipe note under the keyboard so it doesn't go anywhere, and yeah, buddy, you can just hang out there for a little bit. Just hang out and do your thing. I wonder if he got smoked out of the air or something. I mean, that's currently my theory for why I have a bee on my recipe right now, but ooh, definitely having a real nice. Almost got this beef. Not beef. It's venison. You can basically treat it like beef for cooking purposes. It's almost done. It is almost done. Let's see here. I reckon, yeah, we'll just give it one more minute. We'll give it one more minute cook time. And after the minute's done, we will move on to the next step, which is the veg. Also, the wind is blowing my recipe. I'm pretty sure the bee does not appreciate that. And now the bee is looking straight at, and now I've locked eyes with the bee. It's real cool to actually just see a bee just chilling, and you're just like, huh. You actually get to look at you and looking at you alive, and not in the one of the more rougher ways you usually see insects where they're mounted on woo, okay. And our friend took off, and hopefully he is going to have fun doing whatever he or probably more likely she is going to do. So I feel like we're not 100% sauteed with our venison, but we are very well cooked on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start throwing veg at it, because that's what I want to do. Especially get these onions in here. Onions are going to be contributing a lot of... Oh, Jerry. I got a carrot in my tea. There we go. Not expecting that. So we're just going to be throwing this veg in here. Granted, with the way it's piling up. I need a separate pan. I do want to pick out my... I was trying to keep these separate in my bowl, but I was unsuccessful at that endeavor. So I'm going to just get a certain amount of my spuds into a separate container. We'll hit it with that. And now, I'm going to give this a stir. That's kind of the big thing, is how well can I stir this? You know? Because I can't have, like, too much stuff in here. Because otherwise it's going to be, like, really hard to stir. Granted, it's going to get easier to stir once I get more... Get a lot of my fluids in. Now, I want to get everything stirred, get a chance for some of those carrots, potatoes, onions, get some of that stuff on there, and get it seared a little bit, because we definitely have a little bit of greenness to our potatoes. But with the current food level, I'm reasonably optimistic that I can add the rest of these potatoes. Which, speaking of which, I'll probably just go ahead and chuck a handful in. Because the cool thing is when we start adding, like, our liquid ingredient, they will just basically fill in all the cracks and stuff. But I just don't want... I like a nice, thick, hearty stew, but I don't want to get, like, too cray-cray. I don't want to get too nutso with this. Otherwise, that'll be... But yeah, as long as we get this stirred. I have not overfilled my pan. Says the VTuber who's currently taking huge amounts of cope right now. I have not overfilled my pan. This is not an overfilled pan. Not yet. Look at all that. Oh man, that looks so good. And you know what? I'm ambitious. That's ambition. Okay. So, that's the veg. So, we're going to just be letting this cook. And... so this is the wine I've selected, Dreaming Tree. I literally buy this wine because 1, price, it's cheap. 2, it's got tree on it, and I like trees, so it's got to be. Well, I actually bought this wine before, and I used it for the guilt-ridden yakisoba from Eurocamp. So, I am going to be... But yeah, while we're getting this cooked, I'm just going to go ahead and open it, because I don't have a lot of experience opening wine. I don't really drink it. Yeah. Okay. Wowzers. What a... I did not get my corkscrew all the way in, and I have paid the price for that, so. But this is also why we're trying to get the wine open now, and not later. But yeah, this should be like it? Question mark, question mark? Yeah. So, just a little bit of cork left in there. Kind of makes me wonder how I'm gonna put the top back on. I'm not expecting to use all of this line today. So, mine's reasonably prepped, and once again, next to my heat shield, I can just leave it here. It's great. Absolutely great, absolutely wonderful. I love it. Bit of a stir here. Back up on it. No. Really make sure nothing's burned. Burn is bad. Nothing really is burning. Everything's just cooking real nicely so far. So I'm not exactly sure what my everything, but I am getting a real nice sizzle. Seems like I got a good amount of heat. You're cooking quite nicely. Now, having said that, I would like to take this moment to get a little bit of extra wood in here going, just for extra heat. So once this piece of wood really starts to like fire up, I'm going to go ahead and add red wine, some water, and 1 bouillon cube. So I'll be using 2 today, but we'll just be adding 1 in the meantime. Well, initially. But yeah, this pot was actually really full, and it's actually cooked down quite a bit, so this is great. Now our piece of wood is really starting to light off, so we're going to be seeing a lot of additional heat on this side. So far, so good. I'm actually starting to see some of the onions starting to turn translucent. It's a really good sign. So, I think step 1, we're going to go ahead and hit our pot with some water. Mostly because I just want to, with that piece of wood going off like that, it's gonna get real warm real quick. So I'm also gonna take a moment to hit it with some of the red wine, and we're gonna be pretty hefty with our use of red wine. That's reasonable for now. I'm gonna just take the red wine, set it down off to the side, get it out of the fire, and bouillon cube in. Okay. And we'll start stirring this up, because we're going to be we're actually kind of putting a lot aside. Hoping to, at some point, we'll get the chance to move that piece of wood a bit further down and off to the side. So we had a good cook, a real good sizzle going. It simmered down for now, but this is also the big reason why I've just got this piece of wood on here, because I really just want to hit it with a good bit of heat, like quickly, so that way, because especially like water takes a long time to absorb energy. So I just want to like take a moment, make sure we get an opportunity to get. Ooh, yeah. Can I? If I can. Excellent. That's where I really want that that piece of wood is I want to get it underneath my pot. So that way I'm hitting the bottom of the pot with heat. We'll let that sit for a little minute. Starting to really get that sizzle. Really starting. You guys can just kind of see it, but it actually threw charcoal at me. So we are cooking very nicely on that side, so give this a nice hearty stew. Stir. Because we have a lot of heat going in on this one side. But eventually we're going to have a broth. We're going to be adding a lot of beef broth to this. And technically I should have my amount of liquid ingredients like slightly covering. Well, maybe not slightly covering, but a little bit higher of a level than I have. But because I'll be using all this beef broth in here, I really want to just take a moment to just like, I don't want to be too rushy. Even though I know with like the cooking process right now, this will actually this will cook down. Like the water level will cook down. Granted, a lot of the stuff so far today with this stew has been like it's been reducing more than I. Oh man, that piece of wood is just being downright violent in there. But it is giving me the surge of heat that I need at this juncture, because I really do need a good old blast of heat to really get this up to a nice boil. See, we have a little bit of our, here's like a little bit of what our broth looks like. Got a little bit of oil on it. That oil's from the butter, the deer fat from the deer. Granted, that's also like another thing with with venison. Venison is a really lean meat, so this dish is going to actually have like a really low fat content to it. Like this dish is mostly going to be protein and carbs from the potatoes and the carrots, and some contributing carbs from the onions. But yeah, we're gonna let this cook for a little while. I think I would let it go for like 3 minutes, and then after 3 minutes, well, who knows? I might wait a little bit longer just to. Oh boy, this is exciting. It's being very violent, and it looks like I am just starting to lose my protection from this. Because the sun's going higher into the sky right now, and actually, you know what? I'm thinking about it. I should take care of it. One moment. Yeah. Okay, that should have bought me like a couple minutes of sun free. Well, of just not having the sun in my eyes. This is looking great. This is looking wonderful. I'm gonna be really happy with this dish. I mean, I've generally been happy with like the various like recipes I've gotten, and may have been a little bit heavy-handed with my ingredients, but I was also trying to select amounts of ingredients versus the amount, because like my base unit was my slab of deer meat, so I had to base everything around it. And looking at it now, this is definitely like the amount of, personally I would prefer a slightly higher ratio of vegetables to the amount of venison I have going on right now. But, Yikes. This fire is just like spitting charcoal. Looks good though. Looks real good. Oh. We're getting some scum. I do that. As it forms. And be just generally mindful of that. Which I think if I do that, that reduces it. Like if I take the scum off the pot as it boils, then that reduces the gaminess, which is a very desirable characteristic. Well, reducing an undesirable characteristic. Piece of wood is just downright violent. It is downright violent. It is throwing. It has been throwing burning hot coals all over my streaming setup. Hey. A little bit. A little bit. Because it's not. But yeah. I want just there. Nice. Dark. Because I want to just see where it ends up at. Because I definitely am. We're definitely at the point where it's not super exciting. But hey, I'm just enjoying my tea, man. And tea is finished. I am starting to also like smell this a little, and it smells pretty good. Let's see. Ooh, okay. You know what? Let's see. Ooh. Okay. I think we have a really hearty boil right now. And not everything needs big hype to be good. No, that is very... Ooh, wow. That was actually... Oh, that's... Oh, that's cool. So... oh, yeah. Hey, Dad's Old Shop. But yeah, at first I was a little concerned that my inner seal got punctured on this. But it's actually got these like little tabs on the inside of the cap that busts that as you crack it open. But yeah, we're gonna be hitting this with some of the beef broth here. No, yeah, how you doing? Life treating you well? I hope you're at least having like half as good as the morning. Well, actually, I hope you're having a better morning than I am. Then we'll just get all this beef broth in here. Which seems like it's taking forever. And we will definitely be pushing this to... Pushing our dear lovely pot to its limits. Reasonable limits. Okay. Everything needs big hype to be good. Huh. And then... So this is actually going to be the second cube of bullion that I'm adding to the dish, because the original recipe called for demi-glace sauce, which was not available at my supermarket. So I'm subbing that out with beef broth, 1 cube of this, and after I give this a stir, I might add a little bit more red wine. So, but for now, we're gonna give this a stir, mostly because I just want to, especially with that like bouillon cube, I really want to make sure I get everything stirred. But this is also definitely like the appropriate amount of how do I put this? All good at a solo lunch. Hyped to be past the last freeze, most likely from my area. Nice. Nice. Yeah, we actually had demi-glace is amazing, but a pain to make. Also, only a few places had concentrate. Ah, okay. Because I mean, if you look for it like up on like Amazon, like, I mean, granted it's Amazon, like I'm sure there's tons, but I literally just went to the store, just went to like the local like Kroger and just looked around and like, yeah, this is just not here. This is just not here. It is not available. But I've never worked with it. If you want a demi-glace equivalent, if your Asian market has hayashi rice rocks cubes, that's a similar flavor. Okay, okay. I think I've heard of... I may have seen those? But I'm gonna... Excuse me. Because I actually have a... It's not in my town/city, but I have friends in Lexington, Kentucky, that I visit occasionally. And one of the things we will do as like a group is there's basically, it's kind of like a Japanese conveni, sort of, in terms of stuff, but they also carry like a lot of stuff that like Japanese will use for like cooking and such. When I did the venison with gyudon, the pickled red ginger that I used then I got from that supermarket. So I am just writing down a note. I'm gonna look for that next time I'm there, because I mean, if it's a Roke's cube, I can just buy that and I can just have that around. That's always great stuff. Let's see, this light stir. Oh yeah, thanks for the tip. I really like it if I can get tips. Oh wait. I see ya. See you there, you little feller. Oh, let me see here if I can sip that off without... There we go. So. Ooh, Kentucky's fun, especially Lexington. Yeah. But yeah. My wood's been throwing charcoal around, and looks like a small piece of charcoal has got into my food here. But yeah, I actually attended the University of Kentucky for 1 year, and I basically have like a small friend group in Lexington from my time there. And I'll go down, which, funny enough, the group I was traveling with like last weekend and early this week were 2 of my friends from Lexington, plus my best friend from where I'm at. But yeah, I've spent like a lot of time in Lexington. And the Japanese market there is called it's called Ayame. And they have like They have a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I know it wasn't the venison curry sauce, but I've also gotten like curry Rux cubes from there. So I'll look for that, and I'm sure they will probably have it. But that's also, granted, so I do have some cabbage going in the garden right now, and one of my goals for that cabbage is I want to make some okonomiyaki. One of these streams I'll make some okonomiyaki, and for all the various like side ingredients I need to make it, I'll probably pick those up next time I'm in Lexington, because my cabbage should be ready to harvest by late May, early June. I have a friend who works for the university, in the genetic research department. Cool. Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Also, just because like it's nothing I've made before, which is honestly like one of my big motivations, if you will, for like doing these streams, is it's motivation to try recipes that I would otherwise not go through the effort to make. Put gloves on. This tea kettle is hot and heavy. Then set it off to the side. There. But yeah, I actually made kimchi last year with like last year's cabbage harvest. Also good documentation reference if you want to make them again. Yeah. I really only like do a lot of like notes when I'm like making beer. Too much scum for me otherwise. Watery, pretty nice. Ooh, and also like another, how'd the kimchi come out? Kimchi came out pretty good, pretty all right. I actually have it sitting in my fridge right now, and it's just been like sitting in my fridge for a while. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I have not tried it in like 3 months, but I have kept an eye on it, and it hasn't grown mold or anything. So I really need to try it. Try some more of it at some point, but hopefully one of these days I'll make something here and give me an opportunity to have some like kimchi as a side. But yeah, as a home brewer, I definitely have a very strong inclination to to ferment all the things. And I also read a really good book from my library called The Art of Fermentation, and it talked about how to, it was literally a book on how to ferment everything. Gonna be some extra strong kimchi. I mean, like the heat of my kimchi was perhaps a little bit too strong for me. Actually, you know what? Let's be a little bit more honest. It was kind of hot by my standards, but I've also heard like the flavors can mellow out more with time. So I'm hoping the heat mellows out. Because if the heat mellows out, then I'll be pretty happy with it. Because that was like kind of like the only like really disappointing thing to it was, and I think that's probably the reason why I don't eat on it too much, is just because of like every time I like get myself a little bit of it, like, oh great, my mouth is on fire. Granted, what I really should be doing is I should cook some rice and probably mix it in with the rice, and hopefully that will kind of like soften the blow of the heat, ideally. Because if I could soften the blow of the heat, then I'll be doing pretty alright with it. As kimchi ages after opening, it tends to get like more acidic, pungent. Ooh. Okay. That's a good idea. Or use it in place of cabbage, or use it in place of cabbage and other recipes. I haven't done too many recipes that I've used cabbage for here. The one that comes most to mind is I made the guilt-ridden yakisoba from Eurocamp like a while ago. Like I think half a year ago or something like that. And I used cabbage in that. And that was actually a reasonably good recipe. If you can read between the lines in recipes in anime, because recipes in anime they're generally not good at giving you like exact amounts of stuff, and you just kind of gotta be like, okay, I guess I just gotta eyeball it, or kind of. I mean, granted, I feel like I have enough experience cooking. I can get like an idea of like the ratios of things, like the amount of vegetables I used today. Like I used 1 whole onion, I used 3 carrots, and then 2 large potatoes. And I just kind of had to like eyeball that based off the amount of deer meat I had. Ooh, yeah, get that scum. But that's a kind of a big weakness of pulling recipes from anime, is tend to be very sparse on details. Itch. I'll do this. Here, let's do this. Get just a little bit of this broth, and I kind of want to try it. Smells good. Smells real good. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, man. It's the carrots, the onions, the venison, because I used the beef broth for it. Wow. That is overall pretty good. It's not super rich yet, though. Doesn't have any, like... It's not any, like, super rich depth of flavor, just... So, I'm sure that'll be fixed with good old boil time. And I was having a slight debate on whether or not I was going to add more red wine. But since it doesn't seem to have as, like, rich of a flavor as I was expecting, just go ahead and hit it with a little bit more red wine. And that should be plenty of that. Did you clean your own deer or someone else do it? The deer meat was provided by my friend who hunted and killed the deer, and then he gave me the meat. Which, like, for him, lots of ash. Hunting's kind of like a hobby for him, and he does. Trying to recork the wine, but yeah, hunting's a hobby for him, and he does eat the deer that he hunts, but he doesn't eat all of it. So he's very happy to give it away to like friends and family, which thing is I've known him for well over 20 years now. So like even though we're technically friends, we're pretty much family just because like I've known him ever since I was in 6th grade. But yeah, he likes to go deer hunting every year, and this is, he gave me one hind chunk from the deer he shot this year, and then I split it into 2. One I used for my gyudon, and then the other half is being cooked right now. Which, as for me, I'm not really a gun guy. Like, I just don't care for guns. Granted, technically I am a gun owner, but that's just because I inherited like my dad's 22. So hunting's been one of those things I'm just like never really been interested in as like a thing to do. Honestly, I'd rather just stick to the, like if I'm going into the woods for food, I'd rather just stick to the foraging side of things. It's definitely where my interests lie. On a personal level. Wee. Steamy. I'm really happy with how I've done the heat today. Really good call to ramp up the heat prior to adding all the water, the wine, beef broth, that stuff. But yeah, I think for now the way forward with this dish is honestly just to let it boil, let the flavors meld together for a little while. And then after that, I'll scoop some off and try it. Also, another thing is like, I already have way too many hobbies as is, and I don't need to be adding to my hobby list. Because I've already got this, I've got wood I need to break down, firewood I still need to break down. I did actually buy, so since I rented an SUV for this road trip I took like last weekend, I actually used it as an opportunity to run down to a local sawmill and pick up a whole bunch of lumber for a second woodshed. Which I am doing partly because, one, I could honestly use the room, but honestly, more importantly, ain't that the truth? Time is a very limiting factor, and I bite off on more than enough I can chew, as evidenced by the fact I look at how like dirty my house is at times, which I keep my house like clean, organized. Like, I do all my laundry and all that good stuff. It's just I'm not super great about regularly vacuuming, that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm going to be building a second woodshed. And one of the biggest reasons why I'm building a second one is when I bought roofing material for the first one, I ended up buying enough for 2 woodsheds. So since I already have like the roofing material for a second one, I'm like, okay, well, I have the space, and I already have the roofing material. So let's just go ahead and just shell another $100. Well, 100 some odd dollars for what are they called? Post stones? Post footers? I don't know what they're exactly called, but they're the concrete things you set like a 4x4 post in. Shell out like 100 some odd dollars for those, and then, dang, Well, I think they're $15 each, which for 6, well, it's probably not close to 100. But yeah, just shell out however much I need to get, like 6 of those, and then I think the EPA woodshed. Overall I bought like, I think I spent $340 on cedar lumber, but I overbought because one, I wanted extra materials for the woodshed, and I also overbuy for other projects. Like, I overbought enough to make like that really big cold frame. Granted, I'm definitely not building any more cold frames, but I do. Well, and that they also had a sale because I could get like a nominally 4x4x8 post of cedar for like $12, which for like goods, like $12 for like a 4x4x8 foot long cedar post is that's a good deal. That's a good deal. And I like good deals. If you have the cash, always overbuy with large. Yes, always overbuy with large pieces. Because I actually had like a, dang man, yeah. Because they usually sell their cedar posts for like $14, but they're like kind of have an overstock right now, so we're gonna like discount like $2 off, and I bought 6 posts for the cedar wood for the firewood shed. Then I bought 3 extra, which I have 1 extra left, so I've got 4 extra 4x4 cedar posts. And I know what I'm going to do with 2 of them. So my front yard is probably the bane of some of my neighbors' existences, particularly the ones that are probably a generation or 2 older than I am, because I have like long rows of blackberry plants staked up, and also I have some like wild areas that I've planted with some echinacea, butterfly weed, milkweed, various types of wild plants. I keep it very naturey around here. Well, to be in compliant with my local regulations, and my local regulations are like fairly generous with stuff like this. Probably smart to buy now. Probably gonna be less housing, but with everything, yeah, it's gonna be. It's weird, man. It's really weird right now. Granted, I have to say, with like an aside to like the current situation, one of the funniest memes I've seen in regards to the situation was the whole Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck bit that they do with like the hunting season sign on the side of the tree. But it's like Terrasaw on, Terrasaw off, Terrasaw on, Terrasaw off. God, that's too funny. It's way too funny. And it's funny, but it's not something that should be funny, because this is... Businesses make very expensive decisions based on whether or not this stuff exists or not, and turning it on and off like a light switch is really bad for the economy and really bad for small businesses. Speaking as a guy who works for a small business. Ooh, that's really starting to thicken up. How much time has it been? Okay. Keep letting this continue. I'm going to let it continue to thicken up and let the flavors mesh a bit more. But looking really good. I want to give it a taste, though. Sometimes you gotta laugh, yeah. Well, you just gotta see, like, you kind of gotta look for, like, the funniness in it. So that way you can at least be like, well, at least I'm getting a laugh out of this. It's utter nonsense, but I'm at least getting a laugh out of it. Oh, man. Ooh. Okay. Now the flavors are starting to mesh a little bit more. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a mesh, like a rich flavor. So I'm just going to let this thing keep doing its thing for not quite 10 minutes, but a little bit while longer. Yeah, I've got time. I got time. It's just I've got to be a little bit mindful of some other stuff I got going on, because... But yeah. It's going to be really weird with lumber prices, but... Shucks, I finally have found a hardwood dealer who apparently sells in, like, hobbyist quantities. Which I'm really excited to go there and peruse their lumber, but for that, I also have to have a project to justify heading out there to go buy lumber, so... Nothing really... I don't have anything lined up just yet. Next week, I did go to the big box store, because I bought some materials for... I'm going to be redoing my hop trellising, because I need to make my hop trellises taller to get a longer season out of them. But I also picked up a whole bunch of poplar dowels, 3/4, and next week I want to make a folding laundry drying rack. I actually don't use my dryer a whole lot. Mostly I'll use it for like stuff that's really like hard to like hang dry. And so I'm going to be making a drying rack for clothes next week. Probably Sunday, I think. I haven't fully decided on when exactly I'm going to do that, but that's actually that's going to be like the next woodworking project in the pipeline. I've still got the second Japanese sawhorse I'm working on. Oh yeah, earlier conversation. But yeah, so yard, wild-ish, naturey. Local regulations. Local regulations where I'm at state that I have a lot of flexibility with what I can do with my yard, as long as I maintain a 5-foot trimmed perimeter around my property, and I have a sign in my yard stating that I'm managing my yard for like wildlife habitat. I've had a sign. Well, I still have that sign. It's just the sign's faded a lot. So what I want to do is I need to go online. I need to buy one of those, like, because I've seen those bronze like plaque style like wildlife signs, and I want to get one of those. And then I want to kind of like build I kind of want to build like a nice like sign frame. So it's gonna be like I'm thinking like 2 posts, maybe like 2x4 on top, 2x4 on the bottom, maybe with some back panel pieces, kind of make something that looks kind of nice. And I can mount the bronze plaque in that, and then build the whole thing out of cedar so it lasts forever. And then that way, that takes care of my compliance with my local ordinances, and I don't have to worry about my neighbors sending the city to my property. Which was funny, because there was one time I saw a city inspector vehicle in my in front of my house, but they were parked directly across from where I have my sign. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, someone called the city on me. The city showed up, saw the sign, and the fact that I maintain like a trim perimeter around the property. They're like, this guy, well, yeah, this guy, he's following the rules. But someone called shenanigans on me, I think. That's just assumptions on my part. I don't know this like definitively. So, and I don't know if someone's gonna call the city on me again with my sign fading. So, a relatively soonish project is going to be building that, so that way I can have that, get it built, get it installed, and be in compliance with my local regulations again, so that way I don't get fined. Goodness gracious, this is like an ungodly amount of food. This is easily going to be like 4 meals, which is fine. Like this will keep in the fridge long enough for 4 meals, but I'm going to be a fat VTuber, which is fine by me. It is okay having plenty of good food in the life. Granted, I always like it when I make like any like these like soups or anything, and I get like a nice beating of the fat on the surface, and it's not like super prevalent. So it's like, okay, there's like a little bit of fatness here for like some richness, but it's not gonna like overwhelm me or anything. It's always when that real feels like it comes together nice. Even though, because I think, so this is definitely looking a bit more like a soup versus a proper stew, I think. And I really don't know, nor do I care. It looks and smells good. Smells good, and I'm sure it's gonna be good. Not sure if people are gonna be nitpicky with me about this because this is the internet. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna let this simmer a little bit longer. But I can go ahead and start getting various serving implements ready. Because I'm gonna need a fork, bowl, then I also have the almighty ladle, which I'm gonna use this one versus my mellow one I have here because this one's bigger. I can get more of the like chunks and various other good stuffs out of my dish here. And then I'll probably just like, after I like serve up and try it and like past end stream, I'm probably as I clean up, I'm just gonna let this simmer, let it cook down, and hopefully it'll just get better and better. But yeah, okay, yeah. I'm gonna kill this tea that I've got. After that, we'll serve up. But yeah, I'm actually reading a book on Japanese carpentry right now. It's so far, I'm about halfway through it. And it's mostly concerned with the ethos of Japanese carpentry. And it's been a really good book so far. But it has done a walkthrough on how to cut one of the styles of joints they use. I'm thinking at some point, because I've actually got a couple of scrap pieces of the 4x4 cedar. Specifically, I think most of them came from the woodshed project, and I'm going to have more scrap pieces from the second woodshed. I'm thinking about using some of those scrap pieces as victims in an experiment where I attempt to cut joinery, which so far cutting standard mortises and tendons I can do it, but it don't look pretty. But I might get a little experimental at some point with that. Which is like another thing that I'm kind of sort of planning, like everything else. Oh yeah. Oh dear. Yep. I am running out of solar protection. Let's see here. Okay, I think I bought myself just a little bit more time. So, let's go ahead and plate up. Because that is, honest, culinary is fun if you're your own Hershey's. Yes. Like, I just want to try it out just to, like, experiment with it. Because I think it's super cool. One of those things where I'm like, man, this is so cool. But also, like, not easy. Okay. Whew. That is some hot stew. So, I'm gonna set that off to the side. And one of the souvenirs from my trip is we actually went to a. So I bought my books at Kino. I don't know the full name of the bookstore, but because me and my friends just call it Kino's, but it's a Japanese bookstore, and it's up in Chicago, and I think a few other like major U.S. cities, like really major U.S. cities. But attached to it is Asian grocer, and I got my hands on one of my favorite things. Sapporo's Reserve beer, which this is kind of like a richer flavor of Sapporo. But yeah, I have only managed to find it, and because there's Super H Mart in Atlanta, which is an Asian grocer, they carry it, and then this one I went up into in Chicago, which was like Mitsuya's or something. It was Mitsu and then some other syllable that I can't remember. But yeah, very delightful stuff. Sort of like like this. So do that. Do a little bit of carrot, a little bit of onion. Okay. Really good. Really, really good. I'm definitely going to want to let this cook for a little bit longer, just to soften up the carrots more. Because, I mean, they're pretty soft, but they're not like melt in your mouth soft. Which is where I really like to get carrots. Well, get them cooked to that point. Because, like, melt in your mouth carrots cooked with like beef is just like absolutely lovely. Oh. Red carrot, the onion. Oh wow. I just stabbed that potato and that potato just got like cut in half. Oh. Let's try the potato. Oh yeah. Really soft, really rich. Definitely got the flavors of the broth mixed into the well, actually managed to get it like seeped into the potato, man. Absolutely unreal. Culinary is viewed as fancy now, but in pre-industrial times, that was just about how you joined wood. Paying for nails and screws was just a premium option. Yep. Actually, heard when the big push out west happened here in the U.S., families would burn their house down. They would burn their house down so that way they could sift through the ashes to get the nails out to build the new house on the West Coast, Oregon, wherever they're going out west. Because, I mean, a lot of people know the Oregon Trail and like going to Oregon, but some people went to California. Some people ended up in Washington. Actually, a lot. I don't know if it was during those times, but I do have a somewhat sizable chunk of my family out in Washington State. And I also have a couple family members in California as well. But yeah, like nails and screws were definitely a premium option from the Western perspective. I know specifically regarding Japan is metal was a very scarce resource, and because, well, most of Japan's a volcanic island. However, though, most of the world's iron ore exists in sedimentary rock formations. Well, sedimentary rock layers. Finally got the words out. Because most of the ore grade iron that exists actually happened really long ago when algae first became a thing, started making that oxygen stuff, created, and then all that oxygen started reacting with the iron in the water, and like we're talking like billions of years ago. And then that oxygen reacted with the iron in the water, formed rust. All that rust settled out, and then those rock layers that formed from all that rust settling out of the water, that's what gives us the majority of the iron ore we have to this day. Is iron ore is typically found in sedimentary rock formations. Japan's a volcanic island. There's no sedimentary rocks there, so they have to get their iron from igneous rocks, and that just made metal a very scarce commodity among many things like flat land in Japan. But yeah, Japan leaned exceptionally heavily into joinery, just because like that was their option. Like, you could not lock up a piece of iron and wood for a long time. And I also know, like, with joinery, it gives the buildings a little bit of a flex, which also helps with like earthquake proofing and stuff like that. But yeah, I also know most of this that short like geology spill, because this past Monday I was at the Field Museum, and I literally read all that stuff while I was in the Field Museum. Like earlier this week. So traditionally I'm not a geology expert, but I had a reasonably quick refresher in my life, so. And I can also say from where I live, most of the bedrock around where I live is sedimentary rocks, and I need to think about what they're called. I think they're called ironstones. I think they've just been called ironstones, but they'll be kind of like a reddish orange like nodule. They'll be like buried in like various types of limestone and shale, because the land the bedrock underneath this driveway you're seeing is probably limestone or slate. Well, slate or shale. Shale's the sedimentary version. Slate's, I think, the metamorphic version. Whatever. Semantics, but yeah. Mostly sedimentary rocks. And there are, like, rocks that can come out of the rock layers around here, and there was some, like, low-grade iron smelting done around where I live. I know there's some remnant furnaces. Like, we're talking like 1800s. Really old stuff. Like, in like no major mines where I live. But there were some old furnaces about like 20-ish miles from. That sounds right. Yeah. I mean, as far as like my personal expertise, I'm pretty focused on plants. Specifically trees. That's actually the big reason why I picked up woodworking as a hobby. Just because, oh hey, I can just work with trees more. It's just the trees are not alive anymore while I'm working on them. So, that's enough rambling, because the sun keeps getting higher in the sky and eventually going to be beaten down on me. So, let's try a little bit of this venison out. Ooh. Mmm. Yeah. So, venison's good. Perhaps it's a little bit... I can say it's probably a little bit on the chewy side. But I'll be fine as I... It'll be perfectly fine as I let this stew. Continue to stew. But yeah. Really good, though. Really good. Flavors really came together quite nicely. But yeah. I'm from coal country. Old coal furnaces everywhere. Ah! Cool. I'm actually from Kentucky, so I definitely know a little bit about coal being like coal's taught a lot in like public schools and such. It's also just kind of like a thing around where I'm from. Even though coal's not like the main thing where I'm at. Main thing where I'm at is probably like manufacturing and transportation hub. At least as far as like my city is concerned and all that, but yeah. So, I gotta say, today's been a pretty good day. Other than having cut matters a lot for venison, yeah. But I mean, overall, it's really good. Like the flavors have managed to like meld together really well. It's pretty good. I mean, I think these are hind roast pieces, which I don't think they're like the best, but it's fine. Which at the end of the day, it's perfectly fine. I mean, hey, it's also free meat for me, so I'll take it. But yeah, really good. Today was a really good day. Really good day. With the one exception of the heart attack I had when I could not manipulate my model in VTube Studio at the beginning. When I was like setting up for stream. And I eventually realized there's a pin option where you can choose for like stuff to not move on the model. And I realized that somehow that setting got set. But for a brief little while this morning, my heart was very deep in my chest. Fixed that, went live, got a good fire going, cooked some good food. Gotta say, really solid day. Gotta say, really good start to a weekend. So, and it's just a very long preamble to be like, I'm gonna go ahead and really delve into this food I got. So I'm gonna go ahead and end stream here. So thank you very much, Dad's Old Shop, for stopping by. Thank you to anyone else who's yes, it was I was having a bit of a moment, and it was just like, oh no, a tech issue, and worse yet, a simple one, because it's usually the simplest issues that trip me up the most. Like something that's like reasonably complicated is like, a complicated issue has parts so you can break it down into simple parts, but a problem that's just like simple in nature, I was just like, yikes. But I eventually remembered that there was a setting, and because I never use that setting, so I don't know how it got set, but it did. So, whatever. But yeah, I feel like this is enough rambling. This has been a really good day, and I hope all the rest of you have a wonderful rest of your day. And yeah, let's see. I don't think I really have much of anything else. I will have a schedule out later this week. Been a while since we've done some woodworking around here, so it's going to be kind of the focus going in the next week. And yeah, so I think this is enough rambling. I've got some pretty good food in front of me, so I'm going to go ahead and end stream. And yeah, thank you everyone for coming in, and may you have a great rest of your week. Well, actually, great rest of your day and a great rest of your weekend. So, see you around. Bye-bye.